They told you intention is everything. That if you simply picture it hard enough, dream it vividly enough, the universe will rearrange itself to meet you halfway. But that's not how reality bends. Intention alone is not enough to move the field. It's a spark, yes, a whisper into the infinite, but a whisper that vanishes unless something stronger follows. Most manifestation teachings stop at the spark. They tell you to set an intention, visualize, repeat affirmations, and wait. But the quantum field doesn't respond to unfinished signals. It doesn't move because you imagine something once, it moves when your being collapses into it. That missing step is what changes everything. Collapse. The moment potential stops floating as possibility and solidifies as fact. Until collapse happens, your desire is a dream suspended between what could be and what isn't yet. But once you collapse it, it crystallizes. It becomes the version of reality you actually experience. Physics describes this with eerie precision. Before observation, particles exist in what's called a superposition, 1,000 versions coexisting, none yet chosen. But the instant an observer engages, the wave function collapses. One version becomes real, the rest dissolve like mist. You're doing the same thing every second of your life. Around you, infinite versions of you exist right now. The wealthy you. The healed you. The loved you. The free you. All suspended in superposition. Visualization alone keeps them hovering, waiting. Collapse chooses one. Collapse pulls a version of you out of potential and into embodiment. Here lies the paradox: most people never collapse the version they actually want. They visualize, they affirm, they declare, but their emotions, their body, their identity remain tuned to the version they're trying to escape. So even as they imagine abundance, they collapse scarcity. They imagine love, but collapse loneliness. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to words, it responds to frequency. And frequency is felt through what you consistently embody. That's why people stay trapped in cycles of wanting but never becoming. They're not failing to manifest, they're manifesting unconsciously. Constantly collapsing the same familiar patterns because that's the signal they broadcast every day. Think of how it feels when you promise yourself things will be different this time. You visualize the dream. You speak the affirmation. But somewhere deep in the body, the old emotion stirs, the same doubt, the same fear, the same quiet expectation of disappointment. That's collapse happening in real time. The field listens, but not to what you say once. It listens to what you are. Manifestation isn't about asking, it's about becoming the answer to your own request. It's about aligning so fully with the frequency of what you desire that the field has no choice but to reorganize around it. This is the missing piece most teachings leave out. Collapse is the bridge between imagining and living. It's not effort. It's not force. Collapse happens when coherence happens, when thought, emotion, and body all vibrate as one. When the signal is stable, the field cannot resist it. The wave must collapse. Reality must form. The question isn't, can I manifest this? The real question is, can I hold the state long enough for the collapse to occur? Most people never do. They touch the state for a moment, then drift back into doubt, back into incoherence, back into the same reality they swore they'd leave. But the few who learn to hold coherence long enough, watch as the world folds itself around their inner certainty. Because collapse is inevitable. The field never stops responding. The only thing that changes is which signal it answers to. Reality doesn't unfold as something solid and fixed, it's a living field of probabilities waiting for direction. Before observation, a particle is not here or there, not this or that. It exists in every possible state at once. But the instant attention lands upon it, the wave collapses and one version of reality emerges. This is not poetry. This is physics. And you, whether you realize it or not, are the observer. Every emotion, every thought, every subtle feeling inside you is a measurement, a choice that collapses potential into form. Every moment, you are shaping the field with the frequency of your state. Intention points to a possibility. Collapse walks through it. Until you collapse, your dreams remain nothing more than mathematical potential, perfect, infinite, and untouchable. When you collapse, the dream steps into time. It becomes flesh. But collapse doesn't respond to fantasy. It responds to coherence. It happens when your consciousness, your emotions, and your body align on the same frequency. Thought alone is static. Emotion alone is chaos. But when thought and emotion merge, the signal becomes measurable, magnetic, undeniable. Think of it like tuning a radio. The quantum field is the infinite airwave. Your body, the transmitter. Most people send out static. They want wealth but vibrate in lack. They want love but carry fear. They want freedom but breathe anxiety. So the universe, always faithful, mirrors what it receives. Not the desire, but the dominant signal. This is why people live in repetition, different faces, different years, same emotional cycles. They collapse unconsciously, drawn back into the familiar because their body remembers the frequency of the past. You're not failing to manifest, you're succeeding perfectly in collapsing what you feel most often. Neuroscience confirms this truth. Every thought paired with emotion fires and wires neurons together. Over time, those circuits strengthen into habits of being. Your brain becomes biased toward certain frequencies, favoring the familiar ones until they feel like truth. Your biology collapses the same emotional states again and again. Fear begets more fear. Hope without coherence dissolves into frustration. This is not fate, it's feedback. If your brain is wired for limitation, you collapse limited realities. If your nervous system is trained in fear, you collapse fearful ones. But when you train it in coherence, the entire field reconfigures. The field is infinite, but collapse is selective. The signal that dominates your awareness determines the world that materializes around you. That's the true art of manifestation, not summoning something from nothing, but mastering what you choose to collapse. And here's the paradox, you cannot stop collapsing. You are doing it every second. Every heartbeat is a declaration to the field, this is who I am right now. So the question is not will it happen? It already is. The question is what am I collapsing right now? It's humbling and liberating. It means the field has never stopped listening. It means manifestation has never stopped working. You've just been broadcasting on autopilot. So pause for a moment. Notice your state. Not the words leaving your mouth, but the emotion underneath. Because that's the real signal, the one the field obeys without hesitation. You don't manifest through effort. You manifest through embodiment. When your inner world stabilizes in coherence, the outer must rearrange to match. That's not mysticism, it's resonance. Energy meets itself. Frequency finds its mirror. The field is infinite. Collapse is constant. And every time you feel, think, or breathe, you choose a version of reality. The only limit left is the one you decide to embody. Every moment you breathe, reality folds itself around the vibration you hold. Not the words you speak, not the dreams you chase, but the state you live in. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Most people think they can outthink the field. They read affirmations, visualize their dream life, and wait for the magic to happen. But the field doesn't hear words, it reads coherence. It listens to the silent electricity of your nervous system, to the frequency that hums beneath your thoughts. That's why people can pray for change and still live in the same loops. Their mouth says, I am abundant, but their body whispers, I am afraid. The body wins every time. Because the field only mirrors coherence. You can't fake a frequency. You can only become it. When you finally stop pretending, when you stop trying to manipulate the field and instead start embodying truth, something extraordinary happens, resistance dissolves. You don't need to chase outcomes anymore. You attract coherence because you are coherence. Think of every possibility as a track on a record player. Each track contains a version of your life, already complete. You don't create it, you tune into it. The needle is your state of being. The moment you change the vibration, the song changes. It's instant. But only if you stay tuned long enough for the song to play. That's where most people fall out. They visit new frequencies, but they don't live there. They feel inspired for a day, aligned for a week, but then life pulls them back into the gravity of the familiar. The body resists the unknown because the unknown feels unsafe, even when it's better. So it clings to what it knows: pain, lack, worry, because at least those emotions are predictable. You can't create a new reality while emotionally addicted to the old one. Your thoughts can say "I'm free," but if your body still feels trapped, the field only hears the frequency of imprisonment. So transformation isn't about convincing your mind, it's about teaching your body a new emotion, one that matches the future you desire. Gratitude before proof. Peace before certainty. Love before reason. That's how you collapse a new timeline, by emotionally rehearsing the future until your body believes it's real. When that happens, time bends. Opportunities you never imagined begin to appear. People arrive out of nowhere. Paths open that logic can't explain, not because something new appeared, but because you finally tuned into the frequency where those things already existed. Every reality exists now. You don't create it, you select it. You don't beg for it, you become it. You don't chase it, you collapse into it. The greatest illusion is that you must earn what's already yours. The field doesn't reward effort, it reflects frequency. When you realize that, you stop fighting for outcomes and start aligning with them. So if you truly want to change your world, stop trying to manipulate matter with matter. Stop thinking the answer is somewhere out there. You are the observer, the experiment, and the energy that makes it all real. The collapse doesn't happen through struggle, it happens through surrender. Surrender to the truth that you are already everything you seek. The moment you live as if it's already done, the field confirms it. That's not pretending. That's creation. Because in the quantum field, there's no difference between what's imagined and what's real, only between what's embodied and what's not. And once embodiment begins, collapse is inevitable. You've heard people say, you have to see it to believe it. But in truth, it's the other way around. You have to believe it to see it. Every version of your future already exists, layered within the field like invisible frequencies on a spectrum. The moment you believe, not with your mind but with your being, your awareness tunes to that frequency, and that version of your future becomes visible. Belief is not blind faith. It's energetic alignment. It's when every cell in your body hums with the vibration of what you know to be true before the evidence appears. That's not delusion. That's creation. The universe doesn't test your belief, it translates it. Most people think manifestation means convincing the universe to give them what they want. But the field isn't a vending machine. It's a mirror, perfect, neutral, responsive. Whatever vibration you broadcast, it reflects. Whatever signal you stabilize, it amplifies. So if you carry the vibration of waiting, the field gives you more waiting. If you carry the vibration of lack, the field multiplies absence. But when you carry the vibration of already having, the field collapses that timeline instantly. The key is not wanting, it's knowing. Knowing that the version of you who already lives that life exists now. Knowing that by feeling as they feel, acting as they act, breathing as they breathe, you are merging timelines. The two versions of you, the dreamer and the realized one, begin to overlap until they become indistinguishable. That's when miracles happen quietly. Not with thunder or lightning, but with gentle inevitability. You wake up one morning, and the world simply matches your new frequency. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. Everything you've ever prayed for is already orbiting you, waiting for coherence. Waiting for you to stop oscillating between doubt and desire, between belief and fear. The moment your signal stabilizes, reality stops flickering between timelines. It locks in. The wave collapses. But remember this, the field responds to who you are when no one's watching. Not the mask you show, not the words you chant, but the vibration that hums in silence when you're alone. That's your true frequency, and that's what creation listens to. So learn to guard your inner world like sacred ground. Your attention is currency in the quantum economy. Every time you focus on fear, you invest energy into the timeline where fear reigns. Every time you focus on possibility, you invest in a future that liberates you. the field will always yield the return on your investment. This is why awareness is power. Because awareness lets you choose where to collapse. Instead of reacting to old patterns, you begin to select new ones consciously. That's when life stops feeling random and starts feeling orchestrated. And it's not the universe suddenly becoming generous. It's you finally becoming deliberate. You stop waiting for signs and start becoming one. Once you embody that level of awareness, everything you experience begins to make sense. The people who leave, the delays, the detours, all part of the realignment process, preparing your vibration for the timeline you asked for. You realize the collapse was happening all along, even when it looked like chaos. The universe never said no. It was just waiting for you to stop collapsing the wrong version of yourself. And when you finally do, when your thoughts, emotions, and energy sing in harmony, creation doesn't hesitate. Because coherence is the language of the field. And once you speak it fluently, reality answers instantly. At some point, you stop chasing and start remembering. You remember that the power you've been trying to reach has been living inside you all along. That every prayer, every intention, every dream wasn't a request to the universe, it was your higher self reminding you of what's already true. You were never trying to manifest something new. You were simply peeling away the layers that made you forget. The fear, the doubt, the waiting, those were never signs of failure. They were signals guiding you back to coherence. Because every misalignment is just an invitation to return to truth, and the truth is simple. You are not inside the universe. The universe is inside you. Every frequency, every possibility, every outcome exists within your field of consciousness. The moment you know this, not as a theory but as a felt reality, you stop negotiating with life and begin directing it. You stop asking, when will it happen, and start declaring, it already has. You stop hoping for signs and start being the sign. That's the shift from creation to remembrance. From waiting for the collapse to causing it. You realize that time isn't linear, it's responsive. It bends around coherence, folding toward the vibration that holds the most certainty. So when you embody the emotion of the future before it arrives, time rushes to meet you. Because the field doesn't wait for the calendar, it follows the current of frequency. Think about that, you are collapsing the future into now, with every breath that matches the vibration of your highest self. That's not metaphor, it's mechanics. The field cannot distinguish between an event that has happened and one that's being vividly embodied in consciousness. It only knows coherence. It only mirrors the vibration you sustain. So stop chasing miracles. You are the miracle. Stop searching for signs. You are the signal the universe has been waiting for. Everything changes the moment you understand this one truth. You are not the observer of the field, you are the field observing itself. The creator and the created are the same consciousness, playing both roles in an eternal dance of becoming. There was never a separation, only the illusion of one. When that realization lands, not just in your mind, but in your body, you'll feel it. The shift. The stillness. The quiet certainty that everything is already aligned. That the version of you who once dreamed of this moment is smiling somewhere, knowing you finally caught up. And that's when manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you've mastered a technique, but because you've remembered your nature. You don't visualize to create, you visualize to recognize. You don't meditate to attract, you meditate to tune. You don't affirm to convince, you affirm to calibrate. Everything you seek is simply waiting for permission to arrive. And that permission is granted the moment you embody the vibration of having it. So breathe deeply. Feel the energy move through you. Not as a wish, but as a certainty. Because right now, this very second, you're collapsing another reality. The question is, will it be the one you choose consciously, or the one you repeat unconsciously? You've always had the power to decide. Collapse wisely. Because the field never forgets the frequency of a soul that remembers who it truly is.